A big welcome party awaited 200 new immigrants who arrived in Israel to make the Jewish state their home.
It's so crazy. The people here waiting for us, the party, the music, the entire joy of this is magic.
I'm always excited when I see new immigrants coming on Aliyah to Eretz Israel, to the ancient homeland.
Isaac Herzog is chairman of the Jewish Agency, the organization responsible for Aliyah, or immigration to Israel.
They're all here in one big event which epitomizes the great plight of the Jewish people in their return to their ancient homeland.
These are the first arrivals on special flights this summer. They came from France, Russia, and Latin America.
This year we'll have 30,000 immigrants from 40 countries. It's an incredible story.
Among the newcomers are Brazilian and Argentinian singles.
I'm an actress, so I want to try to work with that. I'm also a makeup artist, so I came with that idea.
Here, I'm going to study Hebrew in Kibbutz Magan Michael, and then I'll be in the army for a year and a half. And then, like all Israelis, I will travel, and then I'll return to study music in Jerusalem.
First, I want to really learn Hebrew, okay? So I'm going to do Ulpan, very intensive right now. Then, well, I will start searching a job as a scientist.
They came for different reasons.
When I was little, I was living here with my family for a while, like 4 months, and I fell in love with this country and the people and the culture, so I always want to come back here.
The economic situation is really great. Okay, neighborhood countries are not the best things, but I don't have to worry when I walk through the streets really here.
And I came to Israel because I'm a Zionist. I love Israel, and I'm hoping to make it my home.
Abraham Shevelin from Ohio has been here for just 1 week. He came back to the airport to welcome the newcomers.
I'm learning some Hebrew back in America. I'm good at thankfully, I'm very good at languages. I speak Chinese fluently. I plan on doing business with China and Israel. And if I can do Chinese, I can hopefully do Hebrew, right?
Many would see their arrival as the fulfillment of God's word when he said he would regather Israel and plant them in their land. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Ben Gurion Airport, Israel.
CBS News senior foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan is moderator of Face the Nation. She spoke yesterday for over an hour with Iran's foreign minister at the UN. She joins us from Washington. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How does the downing, or it's not clear whether there actually was a downed drone, but I mean, if there was one down, how is that going to affect the tensions that are already high here?
Well, Iran's trying to dismiss it, saying it didn't happen in the first place, but it is indisputable that the military actions, even though they're limited, they antagonize and they make it difficult to find a diplomatic way out. We know France's president is talking to both sides right now. He is personally trying to cool things off. Yesterday, when I spoke with Iran's foreign minister, who you mentioned is in New York right now, he said the two countries were minutes away from war last month when President Trump called off that military strike due to the downing of a different drone, an American one. But Zarif is making a distinction here. He says Iran doesn't want to cause any American casualties. That's an important distinction because it stops just short of violating President Trump's red line, which is that the loss of a single U.S. life would trigger a military response.
As for cooling tensions, Iran's foreign minister told you that if the U.S. lifts sanctions, Iran would agree to restrictions on its nuclear program. But that sounds a lot like what was in place prior to all this. So how exactly is that going to diffuse the situation?
Well, what the foreign minister who negotiated that 2015 nuclear deal said is that Iran would speed things up and put even more restrictions on its existing nuclear program. They would allow for more intrusive inspections, but really the White House is treating this as a non-starter. Without the U.S. lifting sanctions, Zarif said he sees very little chance of the U.S. countries, of the two countries beginning talks or of President Trump and Iran's leader meeting, say, in September when the two are at the UN for those annual sessions. So last night, we also saw the administration put more sanctions on Iran. National Security Advisor John Bolton raised the bar, saying Iran has to stop any and all enrichment of uranium, even though it is currently permitted to have limited amounts of that nuclear fuel under the 2015 international agreement that you mentioned. Remember, the U.S. pulled out of that deal, but the rest of the world, including Russia and China, are still in it, and they are trying to find some way to keep Iran's program under wraps. All of these skirmishes make it tougher to find a way out.
Margaret, the U.S. is reportedly sending 500 more troops to the Persian Gulf. Does that heighten tensions?
Well, as David Martin has been reporting, one of the reasons and one of the justifications Saudi Arabia wants more of a presence is because they are concerned by these kind of antagonistic actions. And what you hear even Iran warning of is that this can really quickly escalate. Both Iran's supreme leader and President Trump say they do not want war. But you see these skirmishes going right up to the line within just a few yards of U.S. ships, and it really could escalate quickly if there is any kind of loss of U.S. life. That is the line that the United States has drawn in the sand here, and it would force President Trump's hand, at least as he has described the policy up to this point.
Margaret Brennan. Thank you, Margaret.
The latest now on rising tensions with Iran. This morning, Iran claims to have captured spies working for the CIA, and the British government has called an emergency meeting after newly released video shows Iranian commandos seizing a British oil tanker in a critical shipping lane. Our chief global affairs anchor, Martha Redd, is tracking all the new developments. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. This morning, we know a British warship intervened with the Iranians in a dramatic encounter. And this morning, a mass roundup of those Iranians accused of spying.
Iran accuses the 17 Iranian nationals of spying on its nuclear facilities and meeting with CIA officers. In a press conference this morning in Tehran, releasing documents and photos of men they say were recruited online, several already sentenced to death. This comes as new details from the seizure of that British tanker just days ago.
If you obey, you will be safe. Over.
A warning from Iran's Revolutionary Guard to the British oil tanker to turn around.
Change your course to 360. 360 degrees immediately.
But it was not the tanker crew that responded to the warning. It was a British warship trying to stop the Iranian commandos from boarding the commercial tanker, the MV Stena.
Please confirm that you are not intending to violate international law by unlawfully attempting to board the MV Stena.
No challenge is intended.
But within moments, while Iranian fast boats swarmed the tanker, an Iranian helicopter swooped over the commercial ship, commandos rappelling onto the deck, capturing the vessel and 23 crew members. An Iranian flag now flying above the ship's bridge. Iran claiming the British vessel violated international maritime laws. But the British government says Iranians are retaliating for the UK's 4th of July seizure of an Iranian vessel they believe was heading to Syria.
And this morning, there is still no word on the fate of the 23 crew members, but British officials, George, are seeking to resolve the situation.
And Martha, on another front, a U.S. Navy plane had an incident with a Venezuelan fighter jet.
They did. U.S. Southern Command released a video which you can see for yourself how close a Venezuelan fighter jet got to a U.S. reconnaissance plane, both flying in international waters. But this is a dangerous maneuver, the U.S. saying it jeopardized the crew and the aircraft. The Venezuelans clearly just harassing the U.S. for its tough stance against Venezuelan leaders. George.
Boy, not safe at all.
Protester, this is much more than those offensive comments from Governor Rosselló, which sparked these protests. It's about economic frustration. It's also about corruption in the government there. A lot of people angry, simmering tensions over months erupting. I want to bring in someone who's familiar with that dynamic. Luis Miranda joins us on the phone. He's the father of Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course, of Broadway fame, also a longtime New York City official and Hispanic advisor, native of Puerto Rico himself. Luis, thanks for joining us. Help our viewers understand what this is really all about. People who haven't been following this that closely, how significant is this moment right now in Puerto Rican history?
You know, many in the United States learned when Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico almost 2 years ago on September 20th that Puerto Ricans were American citizens and that Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. So many will not know why this is important. And again, as a Puerto Rican living in the diaspora for a very, very long time, Puerto Rico takes the lead here. It is not all progressives, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, the one who take the lead. Our job, as it has been historically, and since Maria hit Puerto Rico with support for dollars for Puerto Rico, our job is to augment the voices in the island, in Congress, in the United States, because at the end of the day, we can vote for the representatives who are going to decide how much dollars Puerto Rico gets as part of disaster relief. That's our job, to augment those voices in Puerto Rico.
And Luis, you know, a lot of people watching this may also be surprised about the talk of impeachment down on the island. There have been 8 U.S. governors who've been removed from office by impeachment in American history. Never before has it been used in Puerto Rico. How significant do you think that push is right now down there to get Rosselló out now?
As Ricardo Rosselló continues to say, in spite of the protest, in spite of the damage that he's causing to the island. Last week, cruises did not stop in San Juan. Hundreds and hundreds of people were not able to visit San Juan and spend the dollars that Puerto Rico badly needs. So as he says over and over that he's not leaving, he said yesterday that he's not running for re-election. Everyone knew that. What he needs to do is to resign now. So impeachment seems to be the next avenue in the Puerto Rico's constitution to follow the process. And today, a group of 3 jurists named by the legislature in Puerto Rico, by the House in Puerto Rico, are supposed to give the document to the legislature, to the House, just like in the United States. In Puerto Rico, it's the House who begins the impeachment procedure. They're supposed to get the document to see if there's enough evidence to begin an impeachment process against the governor.
Wow. So as thousands take the streets, the political process, impeachment underway as well, a dramatic day in San Juan and across Puerto Rico. Luis Miranda, thank you so much, political consultant, father of Lin-Manuel Miranda, and a native of Puerto Rico. Thanks for joining us.
That awful family tragedy, the father of 6. He was just 37 years old, killed by a wave in North Carolina while playing with his children. Here's Gio Benitez.
He was a father to 6 children, and tonight a family is in mourning after a freak accident.
You feel such overwhelming sorrow and grief for their family.
Lee Dingle was on Oak Island Beach in North Carolina in shallow water playing with his kids when he got hit by a wave, the force knocking him down so hard he broke his neck. His wife Shannon posting on Twitter that his own kids tried to save him, but he did not survive. The Dingles have 2 biological children and 4 adopted. His friends remembering a caring man.
He saw each child for who they were uniquely and just supported them.
The Dingles were the subject of a 2016 profile by our Raleigh station, WTVD, when their daughter Zoe was gifted an electric lift for her wheelchair. And David, a GoFundMe account has been set up for the family. His wife says his organs will be donated, yet another selfless act. David.
Gio, thank you.
It is such a wet morning here in the Northeast.
It really is.
And it was quite a night here in New York as well. Take a look at the scene that happened overnight. That woman braving floodwaters in Brooklyn. That's in Brooklyn, trying to cross the street. Really rough.
Many have said they never have seen anything like that. And this woman, we're going to call her a highway hero, using a traffic cone, helped clear out a drain so cars could keep moving again. And those storms knocking out power for more than 500,000 people. Lindsay Davis is in Howell Township, New Jersey, with the very latest. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning to you, Robin. A very wet morning. A lot of concern for the residents here in Howell Township, and you can see why multiple scenes like this are playing out throughout the area. Look, this tree has just smashed, not just through the roof, but through the side of the house, through the windows. A lot of the interior of the house is exposed here. Trees have fallen on power lines, on roadways, blocking roadways, and police are urging people to stay off the roads if at all possible, just trying to convey how dangerous it is out here. This morning, portions of the Northeast underwater after severe storms pounded the region. Some streets look more like waterways. Water so high, roadblocks floating down the streets like pool toys. Cars stranded along the roads as the water rises all the way up to the windows, and people forced to wade through the streets.
It was shocking to me. I haven't seen water come up like that in this area ever, and I've lived here my whole life.
This woman using a traffic cone to help clear a clogged drain along a New York roadway. In subway stations, rushing water creating waterfalls. More than 400,000 people are in the dark across New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, leaving many stranded in their homes at the tail end of a heat wave. Those storms also bringing damaging lightning. This Connecticut school was hit by lightning, which left a hole in the roof and prompted evacuations. This as high winds are likely to blame for this crane collapse in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
The entire wrecking ball went through the home and landed right back on the first floor.
Those winds are also uprooting trees. In Monmouth County, New Jersey, this tree crashed right through the home. And this was the scene in Washington, D.C., where trees fell into cars and blocked off streets. In Maryland, an elderly man was found dead after a tree fell on him in his driveway. And in Michigan, utility crews are racing to restore power. At one point, more than 800,000 homes and businesses were without power after severe storms moved through. Police are also telling residents here to help each other out, suggesting that the power could be out for an extended period of time, possibly multiple days. Robin.
All right, Lindsay, quite a scene there. Ginger, of course, tracking that severe weather, as well as a tropical depression that's on the move in the Atlantic right now, Ginger?
As if we needed more, yes, and that is going to aid in adding more flash flood threats that we've had. Look at this picture out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's actually from Penn Hills, just east of them. They had 4.5 inches of rain very quickly. That's a car and a dumpster that got pushed into that creek. So let's go over here and show you that it's still raining, certainly from the southeast right through New England. It is that tropical moisture, including the depression that is just east of Florida, that is going to add to this. That's why we still have flash flood watches up through southern New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. But watch this. This afternoon and evening, as that moisture comes up, you're also going to have damaging wind threat from about 4 p.m. on from Raleigh to Fayetteville, Wilmington, you too. George?
Whole northeast and southeast as well. Okay, Ginger.
One day, Jesus is coming. You may be at church. You may be at work. You may be asleep. God grant that you will be ready when he makes his personal appearance. My God, what if his appearance occurs on a Sunday morning? My prophetic word to you this morning is get ready! Get ready!
If Jehovah came back right now, would you make it?
Hell is a real place, and I don't want you to go there.
We've been reporting on the bizarre phenomenon that seems to be taking place not just in this country, but all over the world.
Getting angry at God isn't going to solve anything.
Don't butt dad me, young lady. I done said you can see that boy when we get to church.
This is not the way it's supposed to be.
Breaking news, there appears to be a rash of catastrophic incidents taking place across the state.
Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then Jesus said, I will profess unto them, I never knew you.
Esta ha sido una mañana muy espantosa de un catástrofe después del otro.
Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So robes and positions and titles and classifications and auxiliaries and departments and works and paying your tithe and paying your dues will not save you.
We are still experiencing the aftershocks of the massive earthquake that have devastated this entire region.
But if you want to be raptured, you must be born again.
Citizen all the way in South Korea work here one moment and going the next.
You must be washed in the blood of the Lamb.
I'm on my way to church.
What, Mama? I just got off the phone with Mamie Cutler. She told me you the one got her granddaughter Jackie pregnant. Pregnant? Did I stutter? Pregnant, Bobby. What do you have to say for yourself?
Bobby, what's wrong with you, dude? Don't you know your mother loves you? She loves you. I love you. I'm your mentor. And you told me you would go to church today.
Brandon was looking forward to us going to church as a family again.
Brandon. For you. Mommy, are you sad that I'm here?
No, baby. No. Mommy loves you. I wouldn't trade you for anything in the world.
It's over! We've all been left behind. It's going to be joyful for those who are raptured, but it's going to be sad for those who are left behind. Life as we know it.
You swore to me that you were going to get yourself together and start coming to church with me.
Not today, okay?